Welcome to the Goddesses of Social Work podcast, hosted by Renita Ray Davis, licensed clinical social worker, board-approved social work clinical supervisor, and facilitator of the Goddesses of Social Work supervision community. Join us as we travel through the social work journeys told by the Goddesses of Social Work community members, past and present, as they make their way toward clinical licensure.
Welcome to the Goddesses of Social Work podcast and our special series highlighting speakers and guests of the upcoming Affirming Our Presence Behavioral Health Conference, June 20th through the 23rd, 2024 in Plano, Texas. I am your host, Renita Ray Davis, and I'm here today with Jasmine Johnson, MSW, LCSW-S, LSSW, and facilitator of this amazing conference. Jasmine Johnson is an Arkansas native. She grew up in a single-parent household in Southwest Little Rock with her mama/shero, big brother, and little sister. She double majored in African and African American Studies and psychology, earning a Bachelor's of Arts degree in 2012 from the University of Memphis, U of M. In 2015, she obtained her Master's of Social Work degree from the University of Memphis. Currently, she is a social science specialist, crisis responder with the Veteran and Military Crisis Line. Jasmine is a licensed clinical social worker, supervisor, and a licensed school social worker. She holds social work licensure in the states of Texas, Tennessee, Maryland, Virginia, Ohio, and Florida. She is overjoyed to state that she is the owner and chief executive officer of Uplifting Melanin Queens, LLC, UMQ. UMQ is an organization that focuses on building community for anybody who identifies as African American, women in social work, social services, or students of social work programs. This year will be UMQ's third annual conference, and they are welcoming all behavioral health professionals while keeping the focus on Black women. One of her greatest joys is being a TT to her niece and nephews. Last but certainly not least, Jasmine is a proud and active member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Welcome to the show, Jasmine.
Hi, thank you for having me, Renita. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so glad you said yes. Jasmine, I love that you called your mama your shero. Fantasia's Baby Mama song is playing in my head. It's about time we had our own song and how it's a badge of honor to be a single mama. Reading your bio, I say your mom did a pretty amazing job raising you. What is it about your mom that has you calling her your shero?
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me that question, and especially for it to be the first one, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mom. And yes, I definitely say hands down, my mom did an amazing job with raising us. She was like bionic. Like to this day, I still don't know how she did it, but I call her my shero because she was the example that I saw growing up, and she did everything. She cooked the meals, she paid the bills, she made sure we got to school, had clothes on our back and food in our stomachs. And when I got old enough, transitioned, some of that responsibility onto me and onto my older brother. And so we definitely had to grow up faster than a lot of our schoolmates, but I feel like we appreciated it though, because it definitely taught us, responsibility. One of her favorite sayings is it builds character. If she's talking about like hard work or anything like that, she definitely gonna let you know it builds character. You're gonna be fine. But what's so crazy is for you to ask me that question. So me and my mom talk all the time. We're best friends. We really are. And I recently watched Shirley, the new movie on Netflix, starring Regina King. She's playing Shirley Chisholm. And so I called my mom after I watched it, and because I had a rough week, and sometimes you just need a little inspiration. And so I called her, and I was just telling her, that I thank her for never never making me feel less than. If anything, I feel like she pushed me harder because I'm a female. Like she made it very clear to me baby, you could do anything you set your mind to. But you also need to know too that everybody's not always going to, be okay with that. So whatever you want to do, you go out there, you stand on business, and you let them know this is what it is. So I appreciate her, just giving me that confidence and that boost to know that just because I am a woman doesn't mean that I can't achieve something. And I don't have to lessen myself or dim my light to, appease a man. So I definitely appreciate my mom for that. And she's just a huge supporter. She is. Even with my older brother and my little sister, it doesn't matter what we want to do. She always made us believe that we could do it. She always gave us support. She gave us love, and we felt her love. And I feel like that's the most important thing. And so when I say she is my shero, like my mom worked countless jobs. She started going to college when I was 12, single parent of three children, going to school, and we did it. I mean, we found a way and we made it happen. And she has transitioned all the way into being the I hope I say this right, graduate director of admissions for Northern Kentucky University, and she is currently in her doctoral program right now. So when I say kudos, hands down to my shero, without her, there is no me. So I was like, wait, I said it wrong. But yes, that is my baby. That's my mama, and I love her dearly.
I think she's my new Cheryl too. Come on through, Mama. Getting her doctorate, director of graduate. Oh, wow. That is
Yep.
awesome.
Yes. Teen
Yeah.
mom.
Teen mom for real, especially being a single mama and raising her babies. And I know she is super, super proud of you. I know she is. How did you learn it? Well, let's get into your social work journey, Jasmine. Tell me about your social work journey. How did you learn about social work? How did you get here and where do you want to go?
Okay. So I definitely feel I probably say my journey is a little different than most. So in undergrad, I started off majoring in psychology and also I double majored with African and African American studies. And so when I graduated, I wanted to take a semester off is what I wanted to do. That was the original goal. But crazy story. I actually I had a near death experience. One day when I was driving to work, I it was like a loud pop in my car. So, I pulled off the interstate. I'm thinking I just ran my car hot or something. And so I was like calling one of my line sisters to come pick me up because they know I'm a hard worker. I'm like, girl, I was driving to work. I need to get to work. And so in the midst of me sitting in my car and everything, trying to find somebody to come pick me up, all of a sudden I see like smoke coming from the hood of the car. And again, I'm just thinking, just gotta ran my car hot or whatever, and I gotta take it to the auto shop. A man was like driving down the road, and all of a sudden, like he started yelling at me. He was like, "Get out the car!" He was like, "I see fire! I see fire!" But it was under the car, of course. And so I'm talking about. I'm not lying. As soon as I got out the car, whoosh, just flames. Whole car just gone. And so I was sitting on the side of the road as the fire department is like hosing down my vehicle. And I'm just sitting there like, what am I gonna do? Like what do I need to do now in this moment? Because all I was doing really was just working at the time after I graduated with my bachelor's. And so I was like, well, let me just go back to school. And so I appreciate the journey that psychology took me, but at the same time, I feel like I just wanted to do more and I feel like I wanted to be more active. And so that's kind of how I leaned in on the social work. I feel like social work was way more interactive when it came to just assisting people. And so I applied, got admitted. I started school that fall. I started that fall for the master's program and that was in 2013. And when I graduated in 2015. And so I moved to Texas after I graduated. I started working in schools and the one thing I love about social work is that it's so broad and you really can take it anywhere and everywhere. And so I transitioned from school social work to inpatient psychiatric, but I was in the intake department at first. And I transitioned from the intake department to the actual inpatient department. And I did that for a couple years. And then I was a travel social worker for about a year and a half, 2 years. And that was like, in the very beginning of the pandemic and everything. And so I was going from inpatient to outpatient, to medical social work. Oh, I've worked with all types of populations, adolescents, geriatrics. I've done it all. I think the only sectors I have not touched, I would say I have not done CPS or APS. I have not done that. I have not done hospice, and I have not worked with corrections. Those I would say aside from those three, I've touched it all. Um, and with that, I always knew that I wanted to own my own business. I just never really knew exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted it to be something that I was passionate about. And so, I'm a believer. And so I was praying about it, just trying to, seek guidance and figure out what way I was supposed to go. And I would say two work experiences definitely were the catalyst to me starting the business and hosting the conferences. And so one experience, I was working at a hospital, and we were having a department meeting. It was getting a little rowdy. It was like people were, standing up in the meeting. It was a lot of yelling going on. It was very chaotic and unprofessional with the topics that we were discussing that day. But I think everybody was just maybe overworked and tired, and it was just all kind of coming to a boil. But in the midst of that, my department head, she basically addressed me as the angry black woman in the middle of the meeting. And it was so funny to me because I wasn't even speaking, but I was like, oh, okay, then I guess I'll just take the heat for everybody. And the second experience was when I was traveling. I was working at this one hospital. Something happened to one of my patients, and when they informed me, I looked around the room. I was the only social worker in the room, and I was the only black person in the room. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, do I need to get a lawyer? Like, what's about to happen? And it was just the fact that, I was like, well, I know I'm not the only person that deals with stuff like this. And, sometimes you just get tired, of going to conferences or workshops and the presenter looking nothing like you, or the topics that they're discussing has nothing to do with you. And so I said, hey, why not? Let's shake it up. We got to get continuing education units anyways. So how about we go about it in a way that it resonates with us, that the topics identify with us. And so that was one of the main things that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to create a space and a platform for us as Black women could come together and just grow and learn, and whether that be professionally or personally, and just be a support to one another, because I truly believe, it's just my opinion, I believe that we as Black women, at times we are neglected or forgotten about. And that, anytime that we're thought of, we're either lumped in with another race or we're lumped in with another sex. And why can we not just have spaces for us? It's okay for it to be about us. We hold all these different titles and roles, whether that be, in our career field or within our personal life. It's okay to take a moment and be like, hey, you know what? Let me take this cape off. Let me turn the mirror on myself and let me pour into me. Or let me have some time for my sister to pour into me, or for me to pour into her. And so that is kind of how the conference blossomed, and we've been going strong since 2022. Yeah, that was our first one.
That is so great. I love your social work journey, and I'm gonna get into the conference, but I have a couple questions that I wrote down that I want to ask before we get too far gone into the conference, which is why you're here, actually. But Jasmine, near-death experience, and then you're sitting on the curb as the
Girl.
fire. But then you jump from I'm sitting on the curb as they hose down my car, and then the next week I go into the social work program. Wait,
Look, I was
what?
like,
I need more information.
because I was like, something got to be done. I was like, what am I gonna do? Because
Mhm.
at the time, I was, so like I said, like I said, my mama was my shero, so I took heed from her, and so she worked so many jobs growing up. Like I said, I don't know how she slept or if she did sleep. And so when I graduated from undergrad, I was like, yeah, Jasmine, let's just take a semester off, just work a little bit, just breathe, take a minute from studying and writing papers and stuff. And I was like, and we'll go back. But when the car situation happened, I don't know, I guess I just felt like it was like one of those moments where, well, am I prepared? Like, if this were to happen again, am I in a space where I'm going to be okay? Because right now, yeah, I'm working, but at the same time, I know that getting my master's is going to help me even further. And if I'm being completely honest, one thing that is always like a driving force for me is I saw how hard my mom was working when I was growing up. And, if at all possible, if I can be in a space before I have kids to, be settled and what I'm saying, be comfortable to where my kids don't have to see that out of me, then I'll definitely do my best to do that. Because she always tells us that she wants us to be better than her. She always pushes us and challenges us. So I kind of saw it in that moment as well. My mama ain't raised me to, just not do nothing. So we need to figure out what we gonna do, Jen. And going back to school was what it was.
How did you know about social work? Because you were psychology, African American studies. That obviously psychology does have a little bit of a link,
Mhm.
but I love that your background is in African and African American studies. How did that jump from social work, though?
Okay. Well, I'm always for my people. I'm not
Yes.
political. I'm really not, but definitely pro-black. And the fact that I'm pro-black, I definitely want to say it doesn't mean that I'm anti everybody else. It's just that I love supporting those that look like me. I want all of us to win, in the words of Issa Rae. But as far as social work goes, one of my best friends in college, Kiera, she was a social work major. And so I know that, there'll be times we be talking about class and everything. And like anytime we talk about psychology, I'll be like, girl, that got me reading another study. Like we over here talking about more theories and stuff. And when she would tell me more about her classes, I mean, I just felt like I just felt like it was way more active, and I'm very hands-on, I'm in your face. I love person to person contact. So when I was like I could either go like get a master's in regards to psych, I was like, or I could go a different route and try social work. And so I figured why not? Because I knew that the African American studies part could go regardless of, whichever side I decide to go. So yeah, social work just kind of struck me a little bit,
I love
intrigued
that.
me.
And I love that you've been able to pull both the African American studies and social work together to create uplifting melanin queens. One of the things, well, the second question, and then we're going to lean into the conference a little bit.
Mm,
But one of the things that I was talking recently to a social worker, she's in Texas, or she's licensed in Texas, I should say, was we were having a conversation and she was kind of hesitant, small voiced, to say that her dream is to, as a clinical social worker, work specifically with Black people. Though that's her population. And it's because we've been kind of trained, especially in social work, we're supposed to work with everybody. But you are yet another beautiful sister who's like, no, I'm working with Black women in particular. And I guess my question is, where did that boldness come from to be able to be like, I know all of the people are important. Yes, they are, but this is the population, and I'm going to boldly state that this is the population that I want to work with. Where did that come from?
Well, I feel like I've always been a little spicy. Uh, just to be honest, I definitely had, my little shy phases growing up. Having an older brother, he made it very clear, don't mess with my little sister. So, so I really didn't have to do anything because I had a bodyguard for a lot of years in my life. But I just, I mean, you know your passion, and you know when you're doing something, just to be going through the motions and everything. And I feel like when you realize that there's a fire igniting inside of you, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice to ignore it. And and who says you have to go along with the status quo? Like, I definitely get, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, change can come about in many ways, and it can transform and transition so many amazing things if you give it a try. And so for me to feel as strongly as I did about not seeing enough Black women, on these panels or in these workshops and conferences, or, you know, not seeing enough topics referring to us. How you help the client more. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. But it's never about us as the professional or as the individual. And so I was just like, hey, I want to shake some things up. And the worst thing that somebody can say is no. But if you don't try or you don't open your mouth and ask, then you never will. And to be completely honest with you, Renita, I was a little scared, because for our CEs that we've gotten approved, I didn't go through the state of Texas. I went through our national board. And so our national board, they were like, okay, Jasmine, we not saying that we ain't rocking with you, but we need some more information. Like, I basically I had to advocate. I had to advocate for the business. I had to advocate for the topics that were being discussed. And I'm gonna keep advocating because it's necessary and we're out here, and it needs to be understood that we are out here and we deserve the same amount of opportunity, the same amount of recognition, same amount of education, knowledge, as everybody else. We deserve it too.
You're changing the face of social work. You're
A lot of
changing the
pressure.
face. I know. Yeah. But you're not alone, right? You're not alone because these women who have said yes to who did their proposal got accepted to speak at the conference. They're coming alongside you and are willing to be part of that narrative change as well. Social work has we don't talk a lot about it, but it's still 66, 67% white women, and it has a sordid history.
Mm,
One of the things that I often remember thinking about in some of the classes I took was the policing of Black families that social workers participated in, checking underneath the bed to see if there were male shoes or looking for toothbrushes in bathrooms. And then, women losing their welfare support if there was a male in their home because
mhm.
it wasn't, I'll just leave it there. So the fact that you're changing the narrative and the face of social work, I think is important work. It really is. So thank you for showing up for us.
I appreciate that. Look, thank y'all for coming. I mean, look, I can show up, but I mean, y'all gotta believe in it too. And I feel like that the ladies definitely they want the same thing.
Absolutely. And so you've been doing this will be the third year. I love that. And your theme for this year is affirming our presence. What made you decide to speak to that theme? this year?
I wish I knew what I was doing when that idea came about. I'm not even gonna front, Renita. When I say, like I said, I'm a believer, so it's I have moments where I pray about something. 'Cause I know you're supposed to pray about it and let it go. You're not supposed to worry about it. But I'm human. I have my moments, where I'm still seeking guidance, and I'm like, I ain't heard from you yet. So what you trying to say? And there'll be times where I'll pray about it, and I'll be like, well, whatever you want it to be, just let me know. And so I could see something or hear something or the idea just come about, and I'll be like, I like that. Let's go with that. So I, I wish I could tell you where or how we got to affirming our presence, but with the title itself, what I took from it, or am taking from it is we out here. We standing flat footed. One thing you know about me, I'll say a lot of colloquialisms sometimes. So we standing on business. We are, and it is plenty of sisters in the field of social work, within licensed professional counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. We are out here and we're doing amazing things. And so I feel like affirming our presence is we are standing flat footed, but we want you to take notice. And we want you to see that we're not going nowhere and that we are contributing to these fields just as much as anybody else.
Yes, we are. And we're doing it our own way. I think that
Mm-hmm.
part is important, especially looking at some of the topic titles. We're not necessarily doing it the way that they say, westernized way, that they've said
Mm-hmm.
that we should do it. We have our own topics. We're using our own way of speaking and connecting with our audience, and it's for everyone.
Yes. And the information is vital. Who's hearing it? Yes, it is us presenting it. Yes, the topics are catered to Black women, but at the same time, anybody receiving the information, like everybody needs to know it. Everybody needs to hear it. So yes, absolutely.
I speak a lot to that too. Like, I'm reading a couple of different books right now. I've read them, I should say. The Pain We Carry, Healing from Complex PTSD for People of Color, and Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy Grew. And I almost want to be like, some of this is we're speaking to the choir. And so people who are not BIPOC need to show up to these conferences
Mm-hmm.
so that they can be in these conversations with us and we don't feel like we have to be the one who's teaching, but you're doing the work and you're showing up in these spaces so that you can learn from us versus us speaking to each other about stuff that we already know is true. We do know we have complex PTSD. We do know that we have post-traumatic slave syndrome, but we need folks who don't look like us to show up to these spaces so that they can learn as well.
But I also feel like too, the want has to be there. You can't make someone want to know. They have to be intrigued themselves. And I can prime example. So before I started traveling, like I was saying I was at a hospital. And so I was finishing up with my supervision. And my supervisor was a white woman, lover to death, Gail Barnes. And oof, I'm trying to think how old is Miss Gail? I don't want her to get me. I think Miss Gail was maybe in her 60s, I believe. I believe it was late 50s, early 60s. But we she always I feel like she really felt comfortable with me. And so, if there was a question that was like real that she really wanted to know in regards to our culture or Black women, she would ask. Like for example, one thing I pride myself in, as I would get my hair done, and I mean that I will make sure it is in my budget to get my hair done. And so I would constantly come to work, every couple of weeks with a new style and stuff. She'd be like, okay, now I gotta see this. She'd be like, turn to the side for me. And she'd be like, okay, so I got a question. Okay, so how did you do this hairstyle? So like, she would want to know, okay, so so this is braided in. Okay, so what does that mean? And so, we had lots of conversations like that. But of course, she wanted to know because I don't feel like it was a cultural thing also too. I feel like it was generational. We were two different generations. It was so many years apart from us in age. But I brought that up to say, so when George Floyd was murdered and we had my one-on-one supervision following that event, she told me that she just couldn't imagine us having conversations with our children as Black parents, explaining to them how to engage with police officers. And she said I think she was she said she was watching something in regards to George Floyd being murdered, and in that topic was brought up about having the talk with Black children, and she asked me, she was like, it's on a personal, if you feel comfortable telling me. She was like, did you experience it? And I said, absolutely. I said that goes without question. I'm like, baby, I'm from Little Rock. That is the South, honey. Arkansas is the South. If you don't know where the state is located, we at the bottom, okay? And so, growing up as teenagers, it couldn't be more than three of us in a group without blue lights rolling up, talking about what y'all doing. Like police were always on us for nothing. And yes, when my mom felt like we were old enough, and the thing is, it depend for you. It's up to your parent to decide, what age to talk to you about that. Because I feel like if you 12, but you close to 6 feet, you need to start talking to your baby then. Because, of course, that 12-year-old is not a threat, but that doesn't mean that that officer is going to look at him and know that he's 12 because you don't look 12. And so, yeah, I told her, I said, yes, ma'am. I said, my mother made it very clear to us. You always keep your hands in focus. You ask for permission to do anything. It is yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. She said, if anything is wrong, you get a badge number. And she said, you bring your tail home. I will figure out the rest, but you just make sure you get home. So, to have a serious conversation with her like that, and of course, it just be so baffling because she's never had to experience it. But I appreciated her asking because she genuinely wanted to know. She wasn't asking just to be like, oh, well, I don't want anybody to look at me like I'm part of the problem and I don't care. So let me just say this. No, she actually wanted to know. So I was more than happy to have a conversation with her because I told her, I said, now if you ask, I'm gonna hit you with the truth. I ain't gonna lie to you. So she appreciated it.
I hope there are a lot of Miss Gales that show up at this conference this
That's
year.
my girl, man.
Yeah.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
I hope there are a lot. You know what? I know. I just want to say this. My son, when he got his driver's license at 16, and he got stopped six times that year, his first year. He never got a ticket, nothing happened, but he got a warning each time at 16. And one of the police officers said, because he's got a full beard,
Hmm.
big old afro, obviously, with all the hair, and just a hairy, big old dude. And he said he looked like a 33-year-old man with three kids.
See?
He got stopped we were in New Orleans this weekend. He got stopped and got yet another warning. And so we had to have that discussion again. Like, what are you? Make sure your hands are so they can see you. Make sure I just printed out his updated insurance information again to make sure he can put that in his glove box and all of that.
Hmm.
But, every single time our babies are going out of the house, he's gotten stopped so many times and never gotten a ticket, but they keep stopping him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're having those conversations. And George Floyd has been almost 4 years ago, and we're still having them on this
Yep.
weekend. So I appreciate Miss Gail. I really do. Jasmine, why do you think spaces like this conference are necessary?
Well, just as what we were talking about, previously when it comes to systemic racism and just all the things that we have to deal with as Black people in America, we need safe spaces. We do. We need safe spaces, and that's why I was saying too. That doesn't mean that we're anti everybody else. It just means that we have different life experiences, and if you're not living it, you can't understand it. And that's not me being mean. That's just being honest. You can never understand what it's like being a Black woman in America or being a Black man in America if you are not a Black woman in America or you are not a Black man in America. You just it's impossible to understand because we can't wipe off our skin. We can't, change how we are perceived in the media and in movies. I mean, well, true enough, we can, yes, if we are, behind the lens and we in charge of production and everything. But what I'm saying is, um, a prime example how Black men have been portrayed as, thugs or violent, how Black women are seen as angry or aggressive. Those type of narratives are, consistently being played out over and over again. And we are taking the fault of that. We are affected by it because when it comes to us, one apple can, spoil the whole bunch. And that is how we are perceived. If one of us does something, okay, well, all of them act this way or all of them think like this. And that's not the case. I do not represent every single Black woman, every black person in America. I don't. We all have our own opinions. We all have different life experiences. I just know the role that I have taken and I know the cards that I have been dealt and how I've played them. I can only speak from Jasmine's perspective. And spaces like this are necessary because, again, like I said, we're forgotten about. People want to act like Black women are the saviors for everybody and everything, but who's saving us? Who coming to our rescue? Who's protecting us? And I'm a big, firm believer on supporting each other. Like Renita, when you asked me to do this podcast, it was an immediate yes. Because I'm like, oh, she another sister, she doing her thing. Yes, I want to support her. I want to pour into her because I will want somebody to do the same for me. So I'm not just out here, saying all these words because it sounds good. No, I'm saying it because I believe it and I know it to be true. I was raised that there is room for more than one of us to have a seat at the table. And when you climb in that ladder, you bring somebody with you. You don't just do it by yourself because you want to be able to teach the next person how to do something so they can teach the next one how to do something. We have to be that support for each other.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things I say is there's enough out there for all of us to eat. It really
Yes.
is. There's enough out there for all of us to eat. I love that, Jasmine. Jasmine, just, what you've been doing this for over a decade now as a social worker. Is there a belief that you had about social work that has changed since you've been on this journey?
I would say when I first began with social work, I thought that it would just be what it is. And so I guess when I say that, I had always, known about social workers either working for CPS or being like a case manager. I didn't know that social workers could own their own private practice. I didn't know, they could do individual counseling. Social workers are now even in law firms. And so I think the one thing that I've learned is that social work continues to evolve. And and I think it's so dope because it's not a one size fit all. I feel like they teach us so many things in school that you really can make it your own. And so if you decide to not go the traditional route, there's still opportunities for you out there. So I say that's the one thing that I learned about social. It continues to evolve, and there's always an opportunity to make a difference, no matter what it looks like. You just got to be the one to take that step and do it.
I love that. Yes, we were talking before we hit record about our favorite football teams and how we see social workers and how we
Yes,
love our football
yes.
players' stories. And so we're everywhere and we're doing
Steelers
everything.
Nation,
Come
baby.
on, Teresa.
Steelers Nation.
Mike
Yes.
Tomlin, if you hear us, we rooting for you.
Yes, we root for you, sir. Send me tickets. Send me tickets.
Uh,
I will
I
come
just
back to
want an
pick.
autograph picture. Mike Tomlin, shout out to Mike Tomlin. He been doing his thing in a sea
Yes,
full of folk who don't look like him and holding it
baby.
down, standing on his square for a long time.
What
And
you
so
said? What you said?
shout out
Never,
to Mike.
never had a losing season.
Mm-mm,
Never had a losing
mm-mm.
season.
And
Keep
I think
doing your
we can
thing,
say
bro.
that even as social workers, we don't have losing seasons.
No,
If
we
sometimes,
don't.
yeah, we don't, because the work that we do eventually pays off. It really does, one
It
client at a
does.
time. So, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
I agree
Jasmine,
with
this
that.
has been so good. I've loved this conversation, but we are coming up to some of our final questions, and I do want to bring it back to the conference.
Okay.
Again, the Affirming Our Presence Behavioral Health Conference, June 2024. What are you looking forward to the most by all the folks who are coming, and what do you hope that they gain from the conference?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the ladies.
Mm.
We only get to see each other, annually right now. But this year we did start our quarterly workshops, and so we've had that segment going on. We did our first one in January where we discussed HIPAA, and then we also had our guest speaker come in, Miss Tamika Shorten, and she discussed the dying experience. Ooh, child, when I say she took me for a whirlwind, I was not prepared. She did such an amazing job though. So we're rolling out a lot of different things with the business, but of course we're doing it at the right time. And so right now, the conference is the main thing that's really been set in stone as far as cemented. And so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the ladies, getting to engage with them, and just catching up on what they've been doing. Sometimes they'll email me or message me on social media, tell me what's going on. I love seeing them grow. We've had some of the attendees attend for the first 2 years, and now as a third time having this conference, they're presenters, and I love it. And some of them presenting for the first time, so that's amazing to see them elevate as they have. I'm also looking forward to just the topics. I have yet to attend a session, but it is my goal to attend at least one this summer. I don't care if I have to stand in the back of the room, but I definitely want to attend at least one session. I certainly always ask like the ladies who come to just take something away. I don't care how big or how small it is, just take something from the conference and use that and apply it to your life. We don't just focus on professional growth. Of course, you're getting your CEs and everything, and my I guess you could say my special gift to everybody coming in is I know everybody's not from Texas or are not licensed in Texas. And so I wanted to make sure that if you're coming from out of state and you coming to kick it with us, then you get to take credits back to your home state because you came down there and you supported us. So that's definitely my gift to the ladies. So in addition to them getting their credits, I just want them to just whatever they learn, just take it with them. Whether that be you made a connection with somebody at the conference, and now you like, girl, this my best friend. Like, we going on trips together, and we doing this and we doing that. Or you may have networked and met somebody who may be your supervisor in the future. So, or whatever you've applied from a session, just taking that knowledge and seeing how it can continue to evolve you as a social worker. Or if you decide to do something else, whatever you've learned, take that with you. So just any little nugget, any little seed that you get, I definitely always ask the ladies to take something with them, no matter how big or small. And so I'm really excited at the third conference, we're opening it up to all behavior professionals. So LPCs that are coming in, or our behavioral analysts, or our RNs that's working in psych, or psychiatrists or what have you. All of those ladies who are coming in, it's always great, to have the meeting of the minds, and just be with like-minded sisters. So just seeing what type of topics or ideas are bouncing off of this one in the third one. So that's something that's really excited to look forward to. And they get CEs as well, because we also went through NBCC. So when I say your girl be working out here in the background, I definitely be doing what I can to make sure that I got my sisters together. I got they back.
I love that, and I know how I have a NASWCE, just one. Said I and so I know how
Said just one.
hard that see what I mean, you had to work hard to get an
Yes.
entire conference accredited through the NASW. And I'm so glad you made sure that was clear that even though we're in Texas, come from all over this country to have this conference, to have your employer pay for it because you're going to be able to bring back those
Mhm.
CEs. I even
Yes.
want to shout out Louisiana because y'all just right next door. You got to have face-to-face CEs anyway. Why not?
Look,
You're right.
come on down, come on down. We just had an attendee purchase a ticket yesterday. She coming from Delaware.
Wow.
I was like, oh snap, we didn't hit Delaware. Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it. So
I
yes,
love
yes,
that.
ma'am. I'm about to say, yeah. ASWB, they were not playing with us when it came to the CEs, but I'm so appreciative that they approved us, they, regardless of the topics that we talked, because, like, please believe the ladies have made it very clear in their session descriptions. This is what we are talking about. This is what we're gonna do. So for them to allow us to continue to be, ch- thought change leaders and
Mm,
everything else in between. So
yeah.
I'm
Shout
excited.
out to
I'm excited.
ASWB, NBCC, and NASW for expanding the profession because that's what they're doing by
Yeah.
by allowing us to have these CEs. Are there any, before I ask you about any final thoughts, which kind of, the thought that I'm having is I appreciate that you said take something back with you because sometimes we do go to these two things that I was thinking. You talked about going, especially people of color going to some of these conferences, and a lot of it is cliquish, and you're sitting there, you're only one in the room that looks like you. And like you said, sometimes the topics don't even resonate with you. But you're still there and you're learning. But then the second thing that I was thinking in regards to taking something back with you, sometimes we go to these conferences, we do the travel, we leave our families, we pay for the conference. Hopefully your employer in or out of pocket, and then you don't do anything with the information. You spend a whole weekend ingesting. And so I love that you said take something with you and apply it to either your personal or your professional life after attending this conference. But Jasmine, are there any final words of advice and or any thoughts about the conference that you just want people to know about before we end our talk today?
Well, I guess as far as advice, I would just say, if you are in a space where you're thinking about, doing something out of the norm, and maybe you're a little conflicted about it, I say know that if you don't believe in you, nobody else will. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to know that what you're doing is meaningful, is special, and impactful. So please believe in yourself and just take that leap of faith. And, regardless if you hit a roadblock or obstacle, or, something may not go the way that you wanted to, because please believe I have had them. I can attest to that. This has not been a perfect road, but It's not about getting knocked down. It's about the fact, are you gonna get back up? Are you gonna keep trying? So I would definitely say that to anybody who's thinking about trying something different, whether that be in the field or just in life in general. Go for it. Go for it. Live today like it should last, because life is definitely short. And as far as just the conference goes, I would absolutely love it for anybody who's hearing this podcast, this episode, or knows about the conference. If you can attend, please share it with others. Let them know that this space is out there for them, this platform is out there for them. We love to have new presenters every year, so when we are asking for speaker proposals in the fall later on this year, please submit. We would love, love, love to showcase what you're doing. We would love to put your research out there so that others can know what you're doing. And if you are coming to the conference, if you plan on coming and attending the conference, please know that early bird registration ends on Saturday. So right now, the ticket is $350, and that includes all meals. We giving you 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches, so you get 4 hot meals coming to the conference. Dinner is on your own. But I feel like dinner is a way that, say you meet somebody earlier that day and you want to continue a conversation, be like, hey girl, how about we go get something to eat and we can talk more about that? Because of course the connection and networking is a big thing that we want the ladies to be able to do. So with your registration, you get all meals, which is 4. You also get the meet and greet event that we will have Thursday on June 20th, and that'll be from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You also get access to all sessions. That's both regular sessions and sessions that are CE approved. You also get access to the Saturday night pajama game night. We always do a fun event to end the conference, but it's also a fundraiser. So all proceeds will go to programming for next year. And so you're also more than welcome to bring a guest with you, whether that be, your grandmother, it could be your cousin, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, doesn't matter, your wife, your husband, whoever you want to bring with you. As long as they give us that little love donation of $25, they are more than welcome to come. We gonna have us some bones and spades and taboo. We gonna have us a nice little mixture of games in our PJs. And so registration will also include your swag bag. We always give ladies a bag, and we'll have items in the bag. Never give you an empty bag. We just got to figure out what items we gonna have in the bag this year. Also, too, with the conference, know that we also have a vendor showcase. If you know anybody in the Dallas Fort Worth area, or if they want to travel to the Dallas Fort Worth area and promote their business, please let them know that we love to highlight Black-owned businesses, but also to companies in general. If a company is seeking, to hire employees, bring them on. Our first year, I met a CEO of a psychiatric hospital at FedEx office. I was making copies for the conference, and he read some of the information I was doing. Me and him got to talking, and he came and gave the welcome that year, and he was making it known that he was seeking employees, and he met with some of the ladies. He was really trying to recruit one of our presenters. Dr. Chakuma, she's a psychiatrist. He was really trying to recruit her. He was like, look, I want you on my team. But from what I remember, he connected with one young lady, and they were working on setting up a mental health clinic in rural Texas. So when I say connections are happening out here and networking is a big thing, you know, you want to get in spaces like this. You want to, be out, put your face out there, put your business out there. So in regards to the vendor showcase, one day is $275, and then 2 days is $450. And bear with me as I go through everything that the vendor showcase as far as the price will offer. And so the vendor registration includes your 6-foot table, tablecloth, table skirt, 2 chairs, includes lunch. Yes, we will feed you. I am from the South. If you don't get nothing else from me, you will get fed. Okay. In addition to lunch, you will get highlighted on our social media platforms. You will be in our conference booklet. You will be in our conference app. You will get a vendor gift, and you will get access to the Saturday night pajama game night. So all of that is included with your vendor registration fee. And aside from that, we're still looking for sponsors. So if you know anybody or you yourself would love to sponsor this event, please, please reach out to me. My email address is information@upliftingmq.com.
You've been practicing. That was great. You did good.
I know it was a lot. It was like a whole mouthful.
No,
I was like,
I was like, and you did it without skipping a beat. I loved it. But this, you put a lot of work into this conference, and it shows. And when someone puts a lot of work into a conference, you know that the conference is going to. I was just talking to a social worker who went to a conference, and it was a little unorganized. And so
oh,
this feels like you have put a lot of work into this conference, and people are going to get their money's worth from it. So.
thank
But we'll
you.
make sure we have all of your links, your email
Yep.
address, your website, the conference registration link. We'll make sure we have all of those links in the podcast description.
Okay.
But also, early bird registration ends this weekend. For those who hear past March 31st, how long is registration? How much is registration? All that good stuff, real quick.
Okay. So past Saturday, past the 30th, registration will increase to $450. And so the last day to purchase a ticket to the conference will be June 2nd. But also too, I forgot to state that we have payment plans this year. Yes, ladies. Yes, we have payment plans. And so therefore, and that will be throughout the duration of the registration process. So whether you buy your ticket today or 3 weeks from now, you will still be able to do a payment plan. And so on our website, when you're filling out the conference registration form, you have to complete it in order to get to the billing details section. And so once you get to the billing details section, then you will see the opportunity to either do Klarna or Afterpay. Those are the two options that we have for payment plans. Also, if you have a PayPal account, I know PayPal will allow you to split your payment in four as well. So those are the options that we have for payment plans. So yes, if you need to pay as you go with the registration fee, please do so. Again, we would love to see you ladies there. So right now it's $350, but it's going to increase to $450 this Sunday.
There's no reason not to show up. There's
It's
just not.
not. It's not, Miss Renita.
It's not. There's no
Support.
reason not to show up.
We
And
out here.
Texas is doing big things.
Look, what you
So if you're a
said.
social worker or like you said, any type of behavioral health specialist, go to
Mm-hmm.
Texas so that we can see what opportunities are there because
Absolutely.
Texas is not playing with us this year.
Look, we Texas out here. And also too, if you're coming from out of state, I want to state that it is not a requirement to stay at the hotel. If you know somebody in town and you can get a ride every day, do you, honey? We are not in your pockets like that. But if you do want to stay at the hotel and you need a room, please know that our hotel discount rate is 164 per night. It's $164 per night. And the last day to register to reserve a room at that rate will be May 30th. So if you need to go ahead and reserve your room now, you don't have to pay for it until you arrive at the hotel for the conference. And that link is on our website as well. So when you click on a tab that says events and you click annual conferences, as soon as you see the flyer, the conference flyer on the right hand side, there's a blue button that says hotel link. Click that, it'll take you right over to the Marriott page and where you'll be able to reserve your room. And when I say this is a nice hotel, ladies, oh my goodness. The Dallas Plano Marriott at Legacy Town Center is beautiful. It is beautiful.
Yeah. Plano, Texas is a beautiful place to be. It
It
really is.
is. It's nice.
Jasmine, you have made this so easy for everyone.
I try. I hope it's easy. I hope the info is out there and I'm just
Yes.
presenting it to y'all.
Yes, you have made it. I mean, with the hotel registration being on the website, not having to go ahead and get the discounted price, not having to pay for it until you get there, having a payment plan so that you can pay along the way, pre-planning, especially for those who need to plan trips like this. You've made it so easy and affordable and accessible for everyone to attend. And so we're praying big numbers. We're speaking big numbers over this
Yes,
conference.
ma'am. Yes,
We
ma'am.
are speaking big numbers.
Yes, we are. Your lips, God's ears.
Yeah,
Yes.
and he hears me. I promise you, he hears me.
I know that's right, girl. I know that's right. So one of our panelists, Miss Glenda Schaefer. So she was an attendee the first year, she was a volunteer the second year, and then she's gonna be a panelist this year. And so we were talking about the game night, and so Miss Schaefer loves cards like I do, because I am super big when it comes to spades, spades and speed. Like them my top two games. I carry a pack of cards with me everywhere I go. That's how much I love cards. And so we were talking about the game night, and Miss Schaefer was talking about, I know we gonna have some spades, and I said, Miss Schaefer, when I tell you this ain't what you want, I said, but all I need to know is you can't stop fooling with me cause you lose. Now, we still gonna be cool, but I'ma definitely play. Please believe I've been playing since I was a kid, so I know there's gonna be plenty of people there that can teach you how to play bones, Miss Renita. I wasn't gonna volunteer because I'm gonna be on the spades table, but I know somebody gonna be able to teach you how to play bones. Yes, ma'am. We gonna make that happen.
I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward. I'm cheesing and laughing, so I can only imagine the dopamine rushes that we're all gonna have by attending this conference and coming back as new and re-energized social workers, which is always the goal. Jasmine,
Yes,
thanks for coming on
absolutely.
the show today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it, Renita, and I appreciate you so much for just allowing me into your space because you didn't have to, my queen. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Goddesses of Social Work podcast. We are glad you were here. If you liked this episode, please come back to hear more stories of the journeys through social work, and please leave us a review on Apple or Spotify. See you next time here on the Goddesses of Social Work podcast.